Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. This one, I don't even know how to start this one because it's a first listen review, but I don't think it's a first listen review, and I'll explain about that in just a minute. But it's the new one from UFO called Live in Vienna 1998. Now, I want to start off by saying I did a review of their last release here called One Night Lights Out 77. And I'm a little annoyed by what I found out about this release. Now, I don't know what's going on, if this is a Cleopatra thing, Cleopatra Records, that is, thing going on. But that album was promoted as a long-lost recording from them back that they did in Cleveland in 77, featuring Michael Schenker. Now, I had a couple comments that said that's not Michael Schenker, so I'm like, well, what the hell? So I went and kind of did some researching, because as I know, I'd stated that, I'm not like a huge, diehard UFO fan, but I am a Michael Schenker fan. And I'm not going to go back on anything I said. I'm not going to take that video down or anything like that. Stand by what I said in that one, because I did make the comment that I didn't get into Michael till after UFO, and I didn't think he developed his style like rock solid until he went solo on his own. But there's a different guitar player on that album that he had fill in for him, and there was a period during that year where he took off, he disappeared. The rest of the band, they couldn't find him, or there's a long story. I actually will just, as I was researching this, I was finding out that there's stuff I didn't know about the band, the little tiny things I didn't know, and that there's one of the former guitar players, actually Paul Chapman. He was like a rhythm guitar player, I guess, earlier on, and he kind of took over when Schenker went up missing. And I have come to believe that what was promoted as a Michael Schenker, guitar part on that album was actually Paul Chapman. I had a couple other people mention that, and I was a little annoyed, because here I'm thinking I'm listening to Michael Schenker and not catching that it wasn't him. And the recording was a little rough, but I went back and listened, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess I kind of hear it now that it's not him. And so I was annoyed by that, but so I went into this one wondering, all right, I'm gonna make sure I know who's on this one. So I actually listened to it previous, but I wanted to wait till I got the CD of it, actually until the CD was released and everything, to actually do a video on it. So, but before that, I was reading up on it, and I'm like, that's weird. This is an album that sounds like it's already been released before. And I'm talking about an album they released back in 2003 called Live on Earth. And I love Michael Schenker, so I wanted to have stuff with Michael Schenker on it. So I've had this Live on Earth, which I've listened to, and that was recorded in Vienna in 1998. And as I'm reading up on that, I also see that if you buy, there's a reissue done after that was done, that had Live at the Agora Ballroom as one of the bonus discs on it in Cleveland in 77. So I'm like, holy crap, this has been out. All this has been out already. I'm if I'm wrong on this, please correct me, but it sure appears as though this Live on Earth is the same album they're releasing now on Cleopatra Records as Live in Vienna. So if I'm wrong, please let me know, but in what I've kind of looked up, that's what it looks like to me. I admit I could be wrong. I was wrong on the last one. I thought it was Michael Schenker playing on it, and it wasn't, so who knows? At this point, I really don't trust Cleopatra Records, quite honestly. But I listened to the whole thing both times. It sounds like it's the same thing. The talking's in the same spot, whatever. So I don't know. If I'm wrong, they really played two concerts exactly the same. So anyway, I'm just going to run through it real quick, because I already babbled on quite a bit about this. It starts out with Natural Thing. This is back in they did that reunion. They had the album Walk on Water that started the reunion when Michael Schenker came back into the fold, and they went on toured behind it. And that's what this is. And kicks in the Natural Thing. And the first thing I notice is that the vocal is really buried in the mix. So I'm guessing that this is probably a soundboard recording, and it gets better. Obviously the vocal pops up in the mix as the concert goes on, but that's the one thing I noticed is that right off the bat, that Phil Moog is like just buried in the mix to begin with, and then it all kind of mixes well, and the rest of it's pretty even except for the one thing I did notice. I noted on the last one, the Live in '77, as I said, that's the heaviest they've ever sounded. It was on that song, which is true, but they do the acoustic guitars and stuff in this one, and the mix of it was just way all over the place. It didn't really mix well at all. Like the compression was off or something on the acoustic guitar. It was like just getting louder than it should be. Didn't mix great at all. I mean, they played it well. They played it amazing, but the whatever was going on during that song just did not jive well. So, and before that, they threw in 3 of the songs off the Walk on Water, a couple super old ones from way back in the day. And then from that point on, it's pretty much all the hits. This track listing of this is almost the exact same as that Werewolves of London thing they did a while ago, and which was really close to Strangers Than the Night. So there's not a whole lot different as far as the songs they played from way back then to their reunion. So, which I guess makes sense. They've gotten back together with Michael, so they probably want to play all the stuff that he was involved in. And the other thing I want to note is like Rock Bottom, like it's got the extended Schenker solo in it, and like by this point he's got his tone like dialed in perfect. That's the one thing I noticed. Like for me, the sound that he like developed over the years, like when he hooked up with Robin McCauley, I think the sound he had at that point, just the tone of his guitar and everything, and the way he plays was like he had found his style at that point. I mean, yeah, even on the earlier MSG stuff, he had his style. Even on UFO, actually, he had his style, but the sound as well really come into play. To my ears, that's what I kind of noticed, and it was kind of cool hearing this again. With that sound going back to the earlier band that he was in, and hearing it again, kind of feels like it's a new song again with the way he was playing it, because he had really developed his style and his sound by this point. And anyway, I'm not going to say too much about it because this is obviously an album that's been out for a while. I think, I really believe this has been released before. But I really wanted to get this out there anyway, just to like at least let people know if they're going to get this. They think it's something new. It may not be, because I was kind of tricked by that last one, and I think that Cleopatra is doing it again. Kind of makes me wonder what this other one is. It's Hot and Ready in Texas. I haven't even checked that one out, and there's some other stuff that they released here already. That Lights Out and Babenhausen, and they got the Hollywood 76, and who knows what else they got going on. There's Cleveland 82. So there's a bunch of stuff that this Cleopatra's put out that I'm really kind of wondering what it really is. So if anybody out there has any info on that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm sure people that are into UFO and maybe are like in the same boat as I am, that don't really know what's going on with these bootleg recordings, if they somehow Cleopatra got their hands on stuff or the rights to something and they're repackaging it, because it seems like that. I don't want to go accusing them of stuff, but man, it sure does seem like it. I'm really sure they got that last one wrong. So, which a little bit of egg on my face, but you know what? You gotta owe up to like what you didn't know, I guess. So, anyway, tell me what you guys think. Cool album either way. I mean, it's UFO kicking butt. So, if you haven't listened to it in a while, the Live on Earth, check this out and tell me what you think of it. And make sure you like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And until next time, we'll see you.